There is any collusion behind the scenes between power supply companies or petrol companies. This is just accidental market forces at work. But it's funny that they all start phoning at the same time, and I decided I would try and get them to hang up on me. And in order to do that, you need to get them involved in a good 10-minute conversation, because if they hang up on a potential customer after 10 minutes, it all goes on a very sort of unkind profile. So I thought, well, rather than getting cross and just leave us alone, I thought I would adopt this persona of this elderly Devon farmer who's been waiting all day long for a good old chat. And it began when the power supply companies phoned. The guy said, well, excuse me, sir, what are you paying for your electricity? I said, well, I'm not paying nothing. What's the weather like where you are then? And he said, I'm sorry, it's a bit rainy. So it didn't rain here. They said it was going to be, but they always get it wrong, don't they? Last year when we went from the holidays, they said it would be raining all week, but it was blooming hot. And I took all these extra coats, and it was no good at all. Without the ice cream. He said, excuse me, sir, sorry to interrupt, but what do you pay for your electricity? I said, well, the thing is, my brother was wiring up the farm next door. I've patched into him, and I don't suppose you can match that, could you? Anyway, the thing is, about the weather, because they always get, and after about 10 minutes of this, oh, when you put the phone down. And I was so immersed in this character, I thought, how bloody rude was that then? So, every time I got the phone call, I would talk about anything, really. It's just this old bloke, and I was quite enjoying it, but it got really very sad one night, and I got involved in a conversation, and I couldn't think of the punchline, I couldn't think of the way out of it. It was a guy from BT. He said, excuse me, sir, who provides your internet? I said, what's that then? I said, well, like, do you do emails? I said, well, I wouldn't mind, since my sister went to live in Australia, I live on my own. And he said, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. And he started sort of caring about me. And it was getting really awkward. He said, isn't there anyone that could help me buy a computer? I said, well, maybe you could pop round. He said, really, I can't. And he must have been in his office going, this is awful. And in the end he said, well, I've got to go, look after yourself, won't you? And I said, yeah, thanks for phoning. And so we both put the phone down, feeling completely desolate. It was just really bad. And I thought, I'm not going to do this again. This is too realistic. So the next time somebody phoned, I had a new persona prepared. This lady from Everest Double Glazing. She said, excuse me, sir, would you be in need of replacement doors and windows? I said, well, they might do, darling. I just broke in, didn't I? She must have thought she'd phoned Tiverton, I suppose. And she said, what do you mean? I said, well, they're on holiday for 2 weeks, so I forced my way in the back door. So, and I said, well, I did a bit of damage, why don't you give them a call in a couple of weeks? And she actually said she'd phone back. Hasn't done yet. But if she did, I could be the other bloke. Come and help me, let me out, could you, my love? So this is connected in a way. Market forces, uncontrolled, give rise to a thing called AIG, which is arrogance, ignorance, and greed. 1, 2, 3, 4! You song on the Andrew Marr show just over 2 years ago. It's good to see he's making a recovery. He's a fine man. And one of the guests that day was the Foreign Secretary William Hague, who sat in the studio and had to look like he was sort of enjoying this song as the cameras played across him. And afterwards, you get to have breakfast with the guests and the production crew, and so I was sitting opposite the Foreign Secretary and next to his personal advisor, this young, formidable-looking spin doctor type, obviously Oxbridge educated. And I whispered to him, I said, look, the Foreign Secretary appeared to enjoy that song. Could we send him one of our new CDs? And he looked me in the eye and said, no, you can't. He was very posh, but his pronunciation was dreadful. No one laughed at that in Portugal. I think it's something different in Welsh. When a working man stands in line, the market sets his price. With no feather bed or golden egg, and no one pays him twice. Now where's your thrift and your caution and your honest sound advice? You dealt yourself on your hand and you loaded every dime. At every trough you start to feed. With what? Arrogance, your ignorance and greed. You're on your yacht, you're on knees. For your arrogance, your ignorance and greed. I pray one day we might be free from the absolute indifference, the avarice, incompetence, your arrogance, your ignorance, your greed. AIG, Goldman Sachs, your wealth. At least we're all in it together.